Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I've arrived here in Kuala Lumpur and I finally was able to get some sleep and I was finally able to have a shower and I feel much better. So I thought I'd bring you up to date on some of the news that's been happening out there because Royal Caribbean just got fined nearly $500,000 by the Environmental Protection Agency. We have the Carnival Panorama was having issues getting passengers off because of an unsafe gangway. We also have stories coming out about Norwegian Cruise Line changing the itineraries again, uh, getting very close to your sail date. And that's been happening more and more lately, where people are starting to complain that they're waiting until after final payments and then they're making these changes that affect your cruise, and it's all in the line of them saving money. And finally, we also have Hurricane Oscar as rearing itself right now and will probably be affecting the Bahamas as well as Bermuda for the next few sailings, the next few days for cruise ships out there. Your itineraries are going to probably change. Boy, we're having an awful lot of issues with hurricanes this late season. Well, first off, let's talk about Royal Caribbean being fined by the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, after an investigation saying that their documentation is not in order for their waste disposal in their cruise ports. And it all started with a new terminal being built there in Galveston that Royal Caribbean did, and then the EPA went in to do some investigating and they noticed some irregularities. And then they started investigating all of the cruise ports in various areas that Royal Caribbean has. It says since 2019, they have made numerous violations. Now, to be fair, they're not saying that they're not disposing of the products properly. They're not saying that they're dumping products. They're not saying anything like that. They are saying that it is paperwork. Their documentation of things, how they're filling in their reports have been done incorrectly and not to the EPA's satisfactory. So at least we know that the EPA is not saying that they're disposing of waste improperly. We're not hearing of dumping out at sea or anything like that. So I'm glad to see it's paperwork more than anything. But if it's paperwork, I'm sure some heads might roll over this. Somebody's not filling out the proper paperwork. Not a good thing for a cruise line. Next, we also have the Carnival Panorama was up unloading passengers in Manila, and apparently one of the gangways, they were using two, the crew deemed unsafe. If you took a look at some pictures that people are putting out there, you see that it was rusted and worn through and wobbly, and so they said no, they're not going to use it. Now the port has other ones that are there, but they don't fit every ship. And so they were able to finally get a second gangway, but not till much later in the day, where it was more passengers getting back on the ship than getting off the ship. And during the day, when people were lining up to visit the town and get off the ship, it took some passengers over 3 hours in line, lined up the gangway and up the stairways and everything to come off into Manila. And if you have ever been in these stairwells sometimes, especially in humid climates, it gets really hot and very uncomfortable. And so that's what a lot of passengers were complaining about out there. And yeah, not a great thing, but again, crew and the cruise lines are gonna err on the side of caution and safety for the passengers, absolutely, for sure. Next, Hurricane Oscar, yeah, she's starting to wreak a little havoc there in the Bahamas. Turks and Caicos, etc. And if it continues and maintains strength, it'll cause a lot of high winds and things around Bermuda and in that region, which means a lot of cruise ships' itineraries obviously are either going to change, become sea days, or affected. The good news is it doesn't seem to be affecting Florida itself as far as coming in for home porting or embarkation of the cruise ships so far. And that's a good thing because at least we're not being affected again that way with a lot of ships delayed like the last hurricane that just went through. And again, Florida is getting a little bit of a break. They might get some swells, but they're not getting the hit of the brunt of the hurricane unless something drastically changes in the near future with the Hurricane Oscar's direction. And finally, we have some stories out there that people have been complaining to me all the time lately about Norwegian Cruise Line changing their itineraries after final payment and canceling cruise ports after final payments. It seems like the announcements will sometimes come out like 2 days after final payment's done, when you obviously know most of your money is locked in and you're going to lose a big chunk of it if you cancel that cruise. So yeah, that's not a good thing. One in particular is their upcoming sailings on the Norwegian Dawn in Africa, where not just the times and everything, but sometimes the entire port. There was not one itinerary on a 12-day cruise that was not adjusted, including canceling one cruise port, making it a day at sea now, shorter time in other cruise ports, etc. And while no real explanation is given, it seems to be coming under the same wording and guidelines that we hear all the time, and it's based on fuel economy. They're making these changes to save fuel on their ships, and they're saying it's a great environmental thing. We're protecting the environment when we do this because we're going at a slower speed, less emissions, etc. In real language, it is we're saving money on our fuel. And that's one of the main reasons that they're doing this. And a lot of people are starting to get upset now that it's happening more and more and more and more, especially on bucket list itineraries like Africa. You know, most people go to Africa, it's a once in a lifetime cruise. It's not a cruise that you do on a regular basis like Alaska or the Caribbean, or even around England and Canada. These are some cruises that are expensive to do because you have a lot of flying to do. They take a lot of time to plan, and they're going on these cruises, and now they find out that this place that we were going to, that we were looking forward to, we have all these excursions booked. Well, you're not going there, but hey, don't worry about it because we're protecting the environment and we're saving money. And you can flip those around in any order you wish to believe. So yeah, be warned that it's happening more and more, and especially right now with Norwegian Cruise Line. They seem to be changing the itineraries and announcing itinerary changes, drastic ones sometimes, more than most of the other cruise lines out there. So forewarned is better to be prepared. Well, I hope you appreciate this update. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If I see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation. Boy, I feel much, much better today.